I'm Adam Calaway at Cattle Chat Corner here at NCBA 2014 in Nashville, Tennessee. We're at the Noble Foundation Grow Safe booth, and I have Becca Lasich with us. Rebecca, tell me a little bit about where you're from and what organization you're with.
Okay, well, I am here representing the Oklahoma Cattlewomen as the current state president for Oklahoma Cattlewomen. And I'm from Stillwater, love Oklahoma, and so I've stayed there and raised some cattle with my boyfriend there. And I'm also here at NCBA for the American National Cattlewomen meeting. So we come here to catch up on all of the latest information from NCBA and from different research that our committees have done in a variety of topics, legislation. We also cover youth development, all of those kinds of things, and of course beef promotion. That's our big thing. We're out there to promote beef.
Well, then let's talk about the industry just a little bit. One of the topics that is pretty hot right now is sustainability. McDonald's came out and said that they're going to want verifiable sustainable beef by 2016, that they're going to want to start using it by 2016. Sustainability is one of those words that not everybody knows how it's defined. So let's talk a little bit about the definition. How do you define it, and then how do you think the consumer defines it?
Well, that is very hard to answer just because there's so many, and maybe what I think of sustainability is not what everyone thinks of. I think of sustainability in the kind of the big realm of things, probably not even quite how McDonald's does, but we have to feed 2.5 million more people in the next 20 years, and that's a big job. So really, we have to be more focused on our industry. We're already so good at producing much more with less land than we ever have before. And so we have to continue to do that and improve our practices, but yet also meet consumer demand. And in regards to consumers, I don't think they really understand that sustainability buzzword. You know, it could be something with our industry, it can be with conservation, and I don't think they really understand. So maybe we need to be better about a different word, or somehow maybe making it where it's applicable to more industries than just that one word. Does that make sense?
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Tell me a little bit about your definition then specifically.
Specifically, I just feel like sustainability is we need to look at practices that are going to carry our production into the future. So that's really what I think of as sustainability. You know, it's tied to so many different things. Like I said, it's so hard to say what everyone would think about sustainability.
You know, Americans spend about 10%, less than 10% of our disposable income on our food, and it's actually the lowest in the world on compared to any industrial country, or, you know, Brazil spends about 25% of their disposable income. Why do you think that we spend so much less than everybody else?
I think because of our infrastructure, we're closer to our food. We have the science behind it, and so we're always making that much more efficient, whereas other countries either don't have as much regulatory behind it, or they just have an infrastructure problem with getting it to people. You know, sometimes take China, for instance, there's so many people in one area, and it's so densely populated that the agriculture is located elsewhere. And so I think that's maybe the biggest challenge.
Right now, we have the smallest cattle herd we've had since 1952. In fact, we've had 6 years of contraction, basically, of the cattle herd. But yet we're still producing the same number of pounds of beef. How are we doing that?
I think we're doing that a couple different ways. We're smarter about what feed we're using. We have places that develop different feeds and different additives. But I guess the important thing for consumers to know about that is it's all tested before we try to do it. And so if you're hearing about growth hormones or anything, those are safe. That's something we have definitely researched. Our mind is always on what's going to make it to the consumer that's going to be the best possible product. That's what we want for our industry. Our end goal is that consumer, and we want to meet their demand.
Let's talk a little bit about technology. Do you have a smartphone?
I do.
And do you have any apps on there that are agriculture or livestock related?
I have a few. I have the Mesonet, which is an Oklahoma program, and so I'm always checking the precipitation or not lack of precipitation. That's one thing that we use. I also check the markets when we're looking at selling or doing anything like that, or when we're in wheat harvest, we're on there all the time just checking to see if what we've got we're selling yet, or all those kinds of things. And the cattle market too, the same way.
Do you have any specific apps for livestock, things that you're using as far as assessment, whether it's animal health or animal?
I don't at this time. I work for the Oklahoma Department of Agriculture, and so we have some of those resources as far as market news and those kinds of things, and that's just what I'm using. So not an app per se. I probably need to be better educated about the apps that are available for that. I know there are, so.
What about people taking the technology, the data that we can gather now, and using it to apply and make decisions? On your operation, are you still using a lot of experience and intuition, or is it mixed with a little data, or is it really data driven?
Right now, it's mostly still kind of on the traditional. We're trying to kind of move that into, actually using the technology that we have. We're still kind of a slower operation, I guess you would say, at this point. But I know there's great, capabilities out there with genetics and so many different testing things and ways to improve our cattle herds using those technologies. So it's something that we, as the incoming generation for a cow-calf herd, are looking to implement.
What areas, if you could gather data better on to help you with management practices, which specific areas would you look for? Boy, if I could get some data on that, that would really help me.
I guess I would say probably on the nutrition side of things, making sure that we're providing the best nutrition to them and also helping their growth. And then I would say on the genetic side to also, just check our bulls and make sure we're being efficient, because that's the new buzzword, is efficiency if we've got to feed more people.
Okay, last couple questions here is, we'll just go to the last question, which is, if you could tell consumers in the United States one thing about our industry, what would you tell them?
I would tell them that our animals come absolutely first in our minds. We eat breakfast and dinner after our cattle. When it is cold outside, we're cold, but we know they're even colder and they need fresh water. So we're out there breaking ice. We're out there just taking care of them before we take care of ourselves. And so in the end, that's also providing them the safest, most nutritious product, because they come first. They really, really do. We're not sitting on our couches eating bonbons while they're out with ice all over them. We're taking care of them.
Well, Becca Lasich, thank you so much for stopping by Cattle Chat Corner.